So I just found a kid who had an accident. Like, he fell off his bike and it was pretty bad, and like the wheel came off, like the front wheel and everything. And so I found these kids are on their roller skates. You guys are the freaking coolest. I need to bring my roller skates out. Like, anyway, whatever. Excuse me. And it's kind of insane, this whole situation, because when I left, I was in such a bad mood. Like, I left because I was like, my head is hurting. And when I tell you guys, I was listening to music and I was like tearing, what I would describe as tearing through the floor. Like, so like, I'm like walking so fast, like my heart is pounding, my head is hot, like, and I'm having those moments with the Lord where I say to God sometimes, like, God, listen, for the sake of everybody else, you better make sure nobody tries my patience right now. Like, because it's over for them. Like, it's over. I don't have it in me right now. So if you want to intervene and help me out, then so be it. But like, if you don't, I'm telling you right now, I'm past my threshold and I'm just a human being, and like, I've just dealt with too much. Like, it's the final day of the heat wave. There's only like a certain number of hours left. I hate the heat. I've been on my period. I've been working with stuff with my job. I've got so much stuff going on that I'm not even telling you guys about because it's not you guys' business. I'm not trying to get you guys to feel sorry for me and all this stuff. Yeah. People are ticking me off in my personal life in so many different ways. And I'm like, God, I'm trying to just get through the last freaking hours of this blood clot heat wave, like, for the love of everything. So I'm tearing through, like, walking up, I'm going to go and stretch my legs. I'm going to go out and whatever. And all I'm thinking about is fighting. Like, I'm thinking about fighting. I'm thinking about how it sucks as a woman that, like, you can't just, like, we can't just beat, like, I would love to have enough strength to beat the hell out of, like, a man, and not like a little wimp, like a real man, like, you know, because of certain things. I don't hate men, guys. Just want to be clear. I know a lot of people hear that and like, oh, wow. Also, I've never been in a fight. Like, I just want to clarify that. And it's actually quite funny because of this weird dynamic me and God have going on, where I've always said, I'm not going to start a fight. Like, I'm never going to start a fight, and I never would, because I'm not a violent person. I feel like everybody should deal with things, like, in words. And if you can't, what the hell are you doing? It kind of reminds me of Naruto, like, in that aspect of, like, Naruto would always try to deal with things, like, in words, and then the people coming up against him would always want to fight, and then they would lose. And that's exactly what will happen to anybody who tests me in any way, whether that be physical fight, whatever. It's like, the only reason anybody's winning is because I'm choosing not to retaliate. So this is what I'm thinking about everything. I'm thinking about all the stuff I'm not saying, all the messiness I'm keeping to myself, all the drama I could create that I'm not. And it's all just like, there's literally like electricity, steam, fire coming off the top of my head. I'm fuming. I'm wishing that I had like a female friend. Like, my ideal female friend would be the type of friend where we would sign a contract together to say we're going to fight to the death, and like, not to actual death, but like till one of us decides to tap out, and no one's allowed to stop us until that, because I don't want to have to hold back. Like, I used to do boxing for a while, like proper boxing, and the guy was like, I think you make a great fighter, and I'm like, the hell I want to get involved in this, all these rules and regulations. If I'm going to fight, I want to fight, and I want to fight without any, like, so if I can find a woman who's like about my similar size, height, whatever, that would fight, and we could just fight until one of us like taps out, says like a safe word, that'd be the coolest thing ever. And then, like, I don't even care who wins, but the next day we just go for breakfast and talk about how fun the fight was and how cool it was when she did this and I did that. That's like my ideal best friend, by the way. That's why it's probably never going to happen. But anyway, so I was thinking about all of this, thinking about fighting. I think about how annoyed I am about everything. I'm thinking about how I'm literally trying to do my best and all this, and I'm just trying to survive. I'm just trying to live. I'm just trying to get through it. I've come out on a walk so that rather than it keep storing up and me just like then reacting, I get some fresh air. I'm moving my body a bit, you know, like I try and like, you know, just lock in and just, and these are the things, like I was just thinking about this just now, ironically, just before I saw this kid. I was thinking about literally like probably about 10 to 20 seconds before I saw this kid, right? I was thinking about how, you know, a lot of people say to me, like, as a teacher, that like, you're so patient with the kids. And it's like, it's actually not exactly true. I feel all these feelings, but what happens is, rather than most people who just have no self-control and then just they feel something and they react, what happens is, I will get frustrated. I'm talking to a kid and I get frustrated. Yeah, I didn't get frustrated with this kid, by the way. He actually was almost like taking a drug because I felt so bad for his situation. But, you know, I feel the feelings of frustration, and like what I feel like I do that most people don't do is I take a second to like evaluate the situation. So I take a second to be like, okay, I'm feeling frustrated or I'm feeling annoyed, and I think, why am I feeling annoyed? Like, and this all happened in the space of about 3 seconds, by the way. Why am I feeling annoyed? Oh, I'm feeling annoyed because, I don't know, I'm struggling to get this kid to focus. So then I'll ask myself, well, is this something do I need to communicate any type of correction to this child right now? Do I need to just be there for them and be understanding? Is it just me being an adult who needs to just understand I'm talking to a child and needs to just absorb this? Or do I need to, be a little bit more stern than I would like to be, right? So I take extra time to actually think through that and I don't just react, right? And so in that moment, I'll either decide, okay, it's just me feeling frustrated and they're just a kid, in which case I'll be like, okay, should we just try that again? And I'll keep it all to myself and I won't react, I won't take it out on them. Or if I feel like this is a time where they need to learn a lesson, I'll then go through the questionnaire in my head of like, okay, so is this a moment where, how do I go about this? What is it that I need to say to them? And I'll actually think about my wording and I'll choose my wording, my tone and everything quite carefully. That's the only difference. I still feel the same emotions as any other person, any other human. It's just that how I choose to deal with it. Like I said, now I'm feeling so fuming. I'm just trying to get through the last few hours of this flipping heat wave. I've just come off my period. I hate everything and everyone. I'm sick and tired of so many things. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of everything and everyone, literally. And I'm at the edge of myself. What do I decide to do? I decide I'm going to go on a walk. I didn't even record myself when I left. I've been out. I've just been listening to music and whatnot, and obviously it doesn't work every time. And this is where I've kind of been like, God, what's the point? Because I feel like I'm always trying to be healthy whilst dealing with just whatever other adults just want to do, however they want to react, whatever they want to say, without a second guess, without anything. And then the moment I get past my threshold, now it's a problem. Because I had a situation like that yesterday where I was talking with somebody and they quite literally said to me, because I basically pushed back on them in the tone in which they spoke to me in. I said I didn't appreciate it. I didn't think it was necessary. And they were like, yeah, but because you're you, I just thought I could just talk to you like that. And I'm like, why is it that because you have more of a capacity, people feel like they can just talk to you however? People think they can treat you however, but then you go pussyfoot around somebody else who's weaker. That's not fair. So this is why I've started to push back a little bit, right? Anyway, so I'm going for all these annoyances. I'm just like, hey, look, the sun's this was winter, the sun would have set an hour or two ago. This is the middle of summer. We just had the longest day of the year, 6 days ago, whatever. 5 days ago. I am just trying to get through the day because tomorrow's going to be 10 degrees cooler than today. We've had 2 heat waves. It was my birthday last month. If that's not enough reason to want to kill myself. I wanted to get rid of my womb. The Sidemen freaking broke up, and this is another thing that I was going to talk about. That was initially going to maybe make a video about while it was out. So much stuff is happening. I just don't have the energy. Right? I don't have the care to just be dealing with whatever the hell is going on. They're catching out kids in the underground tunnels. There's just so much stuff going on. I'm just like, you know what? Right? So I'm all annoyed about everything. Yeah. And like I said, I'm just trying to deal with it by let me just take a walk. Let me just go and get myself something I don't actually need, but I would like. Let me get some fresh air. You know what I mean? And just as I'm going through this thought process about kids and I'm thinking about, how, like I said, it's not that I have all this patience. It's just that I've had to learn the hard way. I don't get to react like everybody else. That's the truth. I don't get, I've had to force myself in the last 2 years to start just being kind of messy intentionally, because I don't get to react like everybody else. I don't get to have all the excuses made for, oh, but she was just upset and maybe she was just having a hard day. And I've also never made those excuses. I was thinking about this, even when I used to work, I remember the days when I first started working and so many years of me working, where I'd be crying all the way to work. I would get outside my workplace, wipe off my tears. I'll be at work, they'll be like, you're so good with the customers are laughing, crying of laughter and all of this, right? Whether I'm working retail, whether I was working fast food, whether I was working wherever, right? I'm getting the flipping people coming down from HQ talking about, we really think she was the one that we thought was the best, the customers, employee of the month, all this stuff, yeah? Meanwhile, I'm a teenager, literally coming into work crying the whole way there, crying the whole way home and the rest of the night, by the way. And somehow, throughout my workday, I haven't taken out my anger on the kids. In the same way, now, I hate everything and everyone. The kids' own parents are the ones who are giving me stress. And I don't then in my lessons take it out on the kids at all, right? So I'm actually getting sick and tired of all of this. And it was so funny because when I bumped into this kid, right, and I was looking at him and I could just hear him sniffling, and he was probably 10. and he was just sniffling, and he was holding the wheel of his bike and his bike in the rest of his bike in his other hand, and he was like sniffling, and I hadn't even noticed anything else yet. So I was like to him, I was like, "You okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm all right." And like I sometimes I don't really want to say anything because I don't want to normalize kids talking to strangers and stuff. So that's where I'll be like, I'm a teacher, by the way, as if like that doesn't mean nothing, but like at least it's a bit better than, because I was like, I can't just leave this kid by himself, right? Because his bike was broken and he was sniffling and he looked like he was struggling to like hold it. So I was like, do you want any help with that? And he was like, oh, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, I'll help you wherever you have to go. You just show me where we're going and I'll help you. So then, and eventually then I saw that he was like, yeah, I really hurt myself. And like, his wounds were pretty bad, like the ones on his arms and his legs. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is horrific. So, and I just kept calm again, because again, things that a lot of adults and people do is when something's happening, like whether it's to somebody else. This is why I don't talk about my problems. The same reason I've said I never talked about my miscarriage with anyone really, except from one person, is because you'll be going through something and the other people will panic more than you're panicking, right? So in that moment, I'm thinking, this is looking really bad. Like this whole situation, the situation with his bike, the situation on his body, and he's clearly flustered. Me now reacting and being like, oh my gosh, are you okay? What happened? It's not going to help anything. But me maintaining, like being calm and just being like, okay, well, where are you? I was like, do you live not too far from here? And he was like, yeah, I just live over there. So I was like, okay, let's just go there. Because I'm thinking, we'll obviously find his parent. This is what the irony about being a teacher as well, ironically always, is it's so hard sometimes to know the line, because it's not your own child. So what I would do with my own child is almost never what I would do with a lot of these kids, because it's not my place to do what I would do with my own child. Anyway, so I swear to high heaven. Hold on. So anyways, so I was like, yeah, so I was walking with him, and then when we got to just like near his house, he was like, it's okay, I can take it from here, which I was also kind of concerned, because I was like, I would have preferred to speak to directly, like say his parents, and just be like, hey, I saw he had fallen off his bike or whatever, and I just wanted to help him. Also, so they know who this strange lady is, because otherwise it's like there's just this strange lady that like came up to you, and that's a bit weird. And I was invested in, like, I'm gonna go and at least just say hello. Like I walked with him, I spotted him by such and such, and this and that, because I try to be so respectful to parents. This is why the fact that they throw that in my face so much is why I'm like, I'm literally never going back to teaching if I can help it. So, but this whole deal, right? And bless him, because once I realized how bad it was, because at first he just gave me the wheel of the bike, and I was like, should I take the actual bike itself? And I was trying not to be too pushy as well. And then so when I saw his wounds, I was like, oh, let me take the bike, you hold the wheel. And then he was just holding the wheel of the thing, and like, bless his heart, guys, he was in so much pain, you could see him, and it was really bad. And do you know what's crazy? He was like, the moment, and like this is how my job is for me, like the moment there's like a child involved in something, my whole mood just shifts entirely. Like, and this is something I never experience with adults ever, under any circumstance. Like, it's just like at a certain point, once you get to a certain age, I have no sympathy, and I don't care, and I don't, because this kid could have been rude, this kid could have said anything, and it wouldn't have changed my mood. I was already past my threshold, right? And so here I am in the heat wave, carrying this bike with this kid, like kind of stressing out internally, but like I said, externally trying to keep very calm, because it's not going to help the kid. Like, this is what I think a lot of parents do wrong as well, because I see it happen where a lot of kids have anxiety because they're used to seeing their parents in a lot of anxiety. And I feel like parents need to have their anxieties, whether individually or together, in private. Because nothing worse than being like somebody's child, and then those very people that you're supposed to be trusting in for your literal livelihood seem like they're worried about what's going to happen next. Like, there's no stability and safety, which is like the most important thing that kids need, is stability and safety. I've said this before. This is why it's not good for them to be moving around schools or changing teachers all the time and stuff like that. And hence why I always say to you guys, like, if I start out a school year, I'll always finish it, because it's like, I feel for the kids. Like, I know that even though it might seem like a minor thing, and to a lot of adults it's like, oh, we're just getting a new teacher. I know that the change of stability and the lack of routine and whatever is a big deal for them. So anyways, it's crazy because my whole mood has shifted now, where I feel like way just calmer. Like now, just like, oh, I feel for the guy, and I kind of watched him a little bit to make sure, because I kind of knew which area he was talking about, and he might have his own reasons for. My biggest concern was like, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like any good parent would have welcomed me to like have explained why I was involved in this and that I was there, so at least they know who this random adult was and they're not just like wondering about who these strangers are, if that makes sense. So it does concern me, the fact that he didn't want to show anything, but then at the same time I also appreciate that I don't know his home situation and maybe he was embarrassed, and I don't know, but it did concern me a little bit, where I was just like, this is why I can't work with kids, because I just start to think a lot of stuff and I'm just like, and then I feel hopeless and helpless, because it's like there's nothing I can do, really, because like there's nothing I can really do or say. It's not really my place exactly, but it kind of is. I don't know. But yeah, it's just kind of funny how randomly bumping into this kid, like immediately my entire mood shifted, and it's just a perfect example of everything I say on here, where it's like, I feel like the adult population is so good at making excuses for their own behavior. Yeah. And this is an example of why, because I was literally in the worst mood possible. I've left. I'm like trying to just like move my body, get fresh air, just like anything to just like, before I explode. I'm like, if anyone says one single word, like when I was in the store, right? I saw people I actually knew more than usual. And I was like, God, dare one of them to say something to me. And I'm looking at them, bold face. I'm in my head thinking, say something. Nobody ever does. And I know it's because of this thing I said to the Lord, because God knows I'm not joking. I'm not playing games, and I'm not messing around when I say I will retaliate. So when I get into this mood, no one ever says anything to me. No one ever bothers me. And I find it quite funny, because it's like, right. So clearly the energy I'm giving off is strong enough, because no one's looking at me in the face. No one's doing anything. And so I find that kind of funny. And so this is the energy I'm on. I'm tearing through the streets. I'm got all this just frustration and just annoyance in my head. And I'm just thinking about how the only way I would love to release this is just like to get into a fight with somebody who just wants to fight for fighting's sake, like for the fun of it. Like, because for me, fighting would be fun. That's why I never get into a fight. I don't think violence is a way to deal with your emotions. I think it's fun to release some expression, but not like to deal with your emotions. Like, I don't want to hit somebody to like feel something good about hitting them, but I would like to get into a fight for the sake of like, I would love to know what I would actually be like in a fight. It'd be fun to fight with somebody who wants to fight. This is why I like me and Jezebel and our whole thing we got going on, because it's like, she's somebody I can fight to the death and she's fighting me to the death, and that makes it fun, because it's like, the hell yeah, like forget all the rules and all of this and all, oh, we're so worried about this. Listen, Jesus defeated death. I'm not dying. She's only going to death. So this is all just a bit of fun and a bit of a way to express ourselves. But then also everything and everyone is actually so annoying as well. But then I see just a kid with his like bike, and there was that moment of like, should I get him or not get involved, because I don't want to like, he's a child. But then I could see he was struggling. He was about to cross the road. He was so young and just a little Bambi. And like, I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to. And then also the other thing, my thing is also, funnily enough, because I was thinking about it while I was in the store, I was thinking about, because I saw a bunch of teenage boys and they all had like pinned their shirts like up in a certain way, and I was crying of laughter like to myself. I was trying really hard not to laugh in their faces, because it reminds me of like how, a lot of teenage, like all of us as teenagers, like when you think you're an adult, like I thought I was way more of an adult at 16 than I do now, like at 29. So it was making me laugh how they like clearly think they like made it. Meanwhile, they're looking like actual babies, like actual fetuses, infants. And I was just thinking about how insane it is that people would then go and choose to take advantage of people of that age. That's what I'm saying. Every time I'm around kids, it just reminds me of how much I hate the world. And I just hate so much about it, because I'm just like, oh, how could you take advantage of such pure and lovely, children? Like they're just, you know what I mean? And it just makes me sad. So yeah, anyway, that's what that is. So I feel a bit calmer. And ironically, of all the things that helped me to feel better, it wasn't the walking. It wasn't the going and getting myself a nice little treat. It wasn't the fresh air. It was actually being distracted by like the needs of a child, which honestly is always the thing that gets me through life. I can't lie. I think that's why all I can ever think about is saving those kids, because like there's nothing else I can think about, because there's nothing else worth thinking about. Like adults are just stupid, dumb ass idiots, prideful for no good reason, who behave like kids. Like I said, oh, I shouldn't have spoken to this, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that. Especially growing up as an African kid, like I didn't never got any scars from being beaten by my parents, and they never did any extreme beatings. But like I remember kids who would have like literal lashings, like belt lashings and like pots and pans across their backs. Like one guy I knew, he had like this huge scar across his back. You would think somebody like sliced him with a machete, right? And it was all because his mum beat him after he was like, misbehaved. And I'm like, at a certain point, is this about discipline, or is this a lack of like self-control? And there's so many things about like adults that I'm like, is this about discipline? Is this about looking after your children? Is this about this, or is it about a lack of self-control? Because like I said, I recognize that I was blowing my top. So I leave the house, no Wi-Fi, turn off my data. Like my data's not on, no data, no nothing. No one can contact me. I'm outside in nature. I'm listening to music. I'm taking deep breaths, and I'm walking it out. Even though everything that could go wrong in my life is happening at the exact same moment, I'm so irritated, and I could blow my whistle. And then I see people who have the smallest little inconvenience making an excuse to be an asshole. This morning, I tried to start my car, and my whole day was thrown off because I tried to start my car and the car didn't start, and it took a whole 10 minutes for my friend to come and, jump start my. You had a 10 minute like interruption in your day, and now the whole day you're going to be an asshole for everyone. Like, it's stuff like this. Oh, my colleague said this. They said they didn't like the whatever. That one little thing. This is why I'm like, people don't have the capacity, like, for anything these days. And I ain't got time for it. And what I really don't like goes back to what I said and what I'm going to leave on. Me having a disagreement, talking to somebody. It wasn't like a disagreement. We didn't leave on an argument or anything, because some people can have actual mature conversations. And I just said to them, I don't appreciate the tone you spoke to me in. And they're like, oh, I thought I could speak to you like that because you're not like other people. Like, basically, it's as if to say, like, you don't take everything to heart. So because I don't take everything to heart, you just want to be even harsher to me. That's how people think. Because I don't take things to heart and because I can handle it, you only choose to be harsher. Now you don't have to try and be nice and do what you think I deserve and what you think is reasonable. Now it's just your excuse for you to do less just because I can take more. That's why I don't want to be around anyone. Like, this is exactly why. This is exactly the things. This is exactly the type of crap that got me annoyed in the first place and why I was annoyed. I'm not going to get into the details of what was happening, but this is exactly it. Because I can handle more, and because, and it's right, because I did handle it well, because I decided, hey, let's address this. I'm not mad at you, but I'm going to address that. I don't like the way you spoke to me. I understand what you're trying to say, but we're going to need to address this. And again, I have to be the one to put on my shoulders all the pressure and all the everything to have this communication, because if I don't act like the flipping adult here, and if I'm not the one who's taking this, how I'm taking it, then you're just going to blow up, and this is all just going to go negatively. So it's either I have to choose that this is a relationship, or this is a person who I care enough about to do all the work, or I just have to decide to just, screw off the whole thing because I can't be bothered. But there's no option where you step up. And that's why I'm like, where are the adults? Like where are the adults of this life? I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, but they're there. No, because if you look in society, a lot of people, they are there, don't get me wrong. A lot of people, they're used to the very low levels of just acceptable behavior in society. And a lot of people, they are not authentic and honest, because a lot of people take in their stride like, oh, I'm so happy that, I'm great at giving communicate. I'm a great communicator. I'm a great mediator. I've got a lot of patience for others. I've got this. Listen, I'm sick of having to carry more weight than other people are. I'm sick of it. I've been in situations where we've all carried like the amount of weight we're supposed to carry. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of having to be the one who's oh so understanding and so easy to talk to and so good at advice and all of this. I'm not proud about it. I'm not proud to be the one who's this, and the people are, well, you're the one who this, and you're the one. And I don't want to be the one. I don't want to be. It's exhausting. Why do people wonder why I'm never around anybody? It's because I got no freaking energy, because I'm out here dealing with all the kids and not the real actual children, the adults behaving like children. So anyway, before I rile myself up all again, let's try and stay in somewhat of a better mood. Anyways, I'm happy that I was able to help a child, because that's the only thing I really care about. Adults, I couldn't care less. I'm not going to lie. Respectfully speaking, I'm just one person. I can't solve every problem. Whatever the issues are with the problems of the adults, I've done enough. I've done enough this far in my life that I feel like I've done my shift with the adults, just like I've done my shift being in the pastor's family. I ain't doing it again. I will happily be there for the kids, and this is why I don't want to have my own, because I don't need to, because the kids who already exist right now need enough as it stands. So why do I need to add to it what for my own selfishness? To say that I have my kids and no. There's plenty of kids out there who need help. You know, maybe if I wasn't living the life I'm living, I might not have had time to help this poor kid. Who knows? He was crying, his bike is whatever, didn't seem like he had a phone or anything, you know, whatever. I've been there for a lot of kids in situations where other adults, every other adult in their life, was not there for them. So at this point, it's like, maybe I'm just exactly where I need to be, and maybe I'm not going to get involved with the rest of you because maybe I don't want to be involved, because maybe I hate you people. I don't hate you people, but I wish I did. Sometimes I wish I could be more hateful because it make my life easier. But anyways, I'm going to go. I'm exhausted. Well, I'm not really exhausted. I'm exhausted more mentally than I'm physically. Physically, I feel fine. Mentally, I just feel like, ugh. But there's no point, because if I sleep, I'm going to wake up in a couple of hours and the sun's still not going to set still. You know what I mean? If I try to, there's no escaping this life, whether I'm asleep or awake. Wherever I am, as long as I'm amongst other humans and as long as I'm alive in this version of life on earth, it's going to be hell. That's what it is. And I've accepted that. But I'm just not going to pretend it's otherwise. I'm going to say what I have to say, because a lot of people are experiencing life as heaven, and that's because you're making hell for others, and that's why you think this place is so fun to be in, because you're a freaking blood-sucking leech, selfish person. And unfortunately for me, I just know too much now where it's like, would I rather be miserable? I think happiness is overrated. Would I rather be miserable and live to my morals and values and actually at least die knowing that even if I didn't enjoy my time on earth, that I helped a lot of other people? Yes. Or would I die and I've enjoyed my entire life, but I was the blood-sucking leech that people had to deal with. I was the needy one. I was the one that was tough to be around. I was the one causing havoc and making people's lives difficult. I think I'll stay right here where I am. Thank you very much. And on that note, if life's a game, let's pay to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.